Hello and welcome to episode 23 of the Sarah Seams podcast. My name is Sarah and I am coming to you from Columbus, Ohio, where I live with my partner Troy and our cats Alex and Moo. This is my crafty corner of the internet where I share all about my recent projects. Today I have some sewing and then a lot of knitting. It's been about 3 weeks since my last episode and it's been very busy personal time, so I haven't really been able to find time to record, but I have had quite a bit of time for making, and I can talk more about that at the end. I am just gonna jump right in because I have a lot to share with you. I have a lot of FOs, and this morning I met an old friend for coffee to catch up, which was lovely, but I had 2 espresso drinks and now I'm a little a little wired. So let's jump right into it. I am wearing a new sewing make. So I have 2 sewing finished objects and it's 2 versions of the same pattern. So I am wearing the Zadie dress. I'm gonna put in a little video here of me wearing it so you can see the whole thing. So this is a pattern extension to the Zadie jumpsuit, which is a really great pattern by Paper Theory. If you see me looking over, I have my notes over here. This pattern is available up to a 56-inch bust and a 57-inch hip. I made the size 18 on top, graded to the size 22 on the bottom. And like I said, the dress pattern just came out a couple of months ago, and this is an extension to the jumpsuit pattern. So I love the jumpsuits, but I'm a dress girly at heart. So when I saw that they were making the dress version, I was so excited. And I picked up a couple of fabrics to make it out of. It's a real satisfying project. It's the hardest part is the neck binding, and even that is not too bad. So this version I'm wearing now, the navy version, is I'm lying. It's Robert Kaufman linen. I can't remember if it's Essex linen. It's like the speckle version. So maybe you can see there's little rainbow speckles in it. They're more I guess they're primary colors. There's red and green and blue and yellow, which I like because up close it gives it a little bit of interest, but from afar it looks pretty basic, like a solid navy. And this is the long sleeve version. And then I also made a second version that's over here. That is the short sleeve version. So exact same, except this is the short sleeve version. This fabric I got at a D-stash, and it is a mystery fabric. I think it's cotton. It might be a cotton linen blend, and it is black with white pinstripes. And the only thing on this one is that I used a solid black for the neck binding, just because I didn't want the stripes to be oddly placed in the binding. But yeah. It has humongous pockets, which I love. Love a dress with pockets, especially when they're huge, and these are. Yeah, I definitely think I will make more of these. Both of these fabrics are pretty voluminous. So for example, at the waist, there's quite a bit of fullness, which I like, but I think it would be really nice to make a version that is a more drapey fabric as well. So I feel this is it. I have found my perfect wrap dress pattern, and I could see myself making many different iterations of this. So yeah, my first 2 finished objects are the Zadie dresses. Also, I forgot to say my social media, which I always forget. So if you're interested in following along, I don't post too often, maybe once a week or so, but I do post all the updates about the craft nights that I host there. So definitely if you're local to Columbus, I'd encourage you to follow there, and hopefully you can come to a craft night. You can find me on Instagram at Sarah_Seams or on Ravelry at Sarah Ribble. And I do post all of my projects on Ravelry. Okay, that's it for sewing. So jumping into knitting, I have 3 finished hats. So I'm gonna show two of them now, and then I'll show another one later in this section. So the first one is one I've been working on for a while, and I finally finished it. It is my hot pink robin beanie. This pattern is by Sari Nordland. It is a top-down 2x2 rib beanie, so you can see it has these really pretty increases at the top, and then it's 2x2 rib with this pretty wide folded up cuff. This one is knit in leftover yarn from one of my Lento sweaters that I made earlier this year. The main yarn is Kelborn Woolens Perennial in the color pink, and the mohair is Pearl Soho Tussock in Pink Joy. And I have to say, I think that that is my favorite mohair that I've used to date, now that I've tried quite a few. It's really nice and it's very lustrous. So this is going to be a gift for one of my coworkers for Christmas. I'm cranking out those holiday gifts. Every time I wear that sweater, she tells me how obsessed with it she is, so she's getting a hat in the exact same yarn combo. This is my second time making this pattern. I really like it. I think I'm gonna make another one for myself out of some camel yarn that I recently got. Yeah, it's a great pattern. It does only come in the one size, but I think that you could fairly easily modify it. The pattern also is written for a double folded brim. I just did a single fold. So yeah, it's so nice and soft. I really like this. I kind of want a hot pink one now too. I never wore hats that often until I started knitting, and now I have a large hat collection, and I've been making a conscious effort to wear them more. I feel like I tend to wear them on like a Sunday morning when we're going to the grocery store and I like don't want to brush my hair. That's kind of the vibe. Anyways, okay, the second hat I have already gifted, so I'm just gonna put a picture of it in here. This is a classic ribbed hat. The pattern is a free pattern from Pearl Soho. It seems to be very popular. This was my first time using it, and I understand why it's popular. It comes in a wide variety of sizes, 5 sizes from baby to adult large, and it's very easy to follow. You basically just knit, you know, a 1x1 rib tube in whatever size you're doing, and then the simple decreases. I totally understand why people make this over and over again. It's very simple and effective. So this I knit for my friend's son, who's about 16 months, and we actually like measured his head circumference and everything. So he had an 18-inch head circumference, and I made him the size adult small, and it fits him really well with some room to grow. So I'm hoping that he'll be able to wear it for a few years to come. And I think this yarn was a mystery yarn that I got secondhand. I'm sure it's wool. I'm not sure of anything else other than that. So I did advise her just to, you know, hand wash it until lay flat to dry. But which I'm hoping with a hat, it won't have to be washed as often as like a sweater. But anyways, I do try to make baby toddler stuff in like superwash wool normally, just for ease of washing, but I thought this colorful yarn was perfect. My friend's favorite color is yellow, and it just had all these pretty colors that she likes, so it seems to be a hit, and hopefully it keeps him warm through the winter. Next up, okay, I have 4 more finished objects. 3 of them are big. One of them is like a little bonus. So the next one is my Geogradient shawl. It's done. So I feel like at this point I don't really need to, spoiler warning if you don't want to see what the finished WestKnits MKAL shawl looked like for this year, but the MKAL has been over for a few weeks, so hopefully you will have seen it already. This was my first year participating in the WestKnits MKAL. It was a bit of a rocky start. I'm sure you've heard about that drama by now. If not, go back a few episodes. I linked to a video kind of explaining everything. But I did finish the KAL. I'm really glad I did. I really like how this turned out. It was a bit of a slog towards the end, and it just, those rows got long. So let me show you the finished shawl. Here she is. It's so big, you like really can't even show it. Okay, So my colors, my gradient was these 4 colors here. I did buy a kit from WestKnits. The yarn was Mamanoki, and I can share the color names in a moment, but I had, actually I know the names. It's their sock yarn. This lightest color was Strawberry Cream. This was Framboise, Grape, and Cassis. So I'll just walk through the whole thing. So clue 1 was the one that had to be restarted, and I was inspired by Yana at Finished Knitting Stories to restart mine with the granny square. So the granny square, along with these solid stripes out to here, that was clue 1, which was pretty large. I really am so happy I did the granny square. I feel like the rest of the shawl like really tied that texture in so well. Clue 2 were these eyelet stripes on both sides. Clue 3, I think visually is my favorite, but it took forever to knit, and that was the textured wingtips. So this was like a really interesting slip stitch pattern, but because you're slipping so many stitches, it just took a really long time to knit. So we did have that on both sides. And then last but not least was the humongous border. And that was a really interesting like dip stitch. So you can see here the little clusters of the dip stitch. So you picked up all along the bottom. It's a lot of stitches. It was over 500 stitches to start, and the dip stitch rows had over 1,000 stitches. So it was definitely time consuming. I knit it to the specified length. So I know a lot of people added additional rows, but I was pretty tapped out by the time I finished the specified length. But then I did add a pretty big fringe, and instead of holding all the colors together in each tassel, I did individual ones in the gradient scheme. So yeah, here she is. She's humongous. I have definitely not worn it out and about yet because it's a little crazy town. But I really like it. So blocking added a lot of size. At first it wasn't like huge, but I think blocking it and adding the tassels really did add like a lot of length and size, and it's pretty cute. It's crazy. The colors are a lot. The fringe is a lot. I have thought about trimming it down a bit, maybe to like there. What do you think? Is it too much? I feel like the whole thing is too much. So like putting giant fringe on it is kind of just leaning into the too much of it all. But I do really, really like it. So yeah, you can wear it like as a scarf, which this is how I would probably be most likely to wear it. I'm still fairly new to shawl wearing, so I don't know how good I am at styling them yet. I've seen people kind of wrapping it more like this, which is also fun. Or you can always just, in true shawl fashion, kind of drape it over your shoulders. Like you can see, it really did grow. Like it would stay on, for sure. But yeah, there she is. I can't believe it. So I took about an extra week and a half to finish it because I was out of town for 4 days at a bachelorette party. But I'm really proud of myself. I didn't finish it in the month. Honestly, I don't know how people do that. Like the last rows are so long. Like I really was dedicating a lot of time to it. I don't know how people finish it in a month. Like it's a lot of stitches. Section 2 with the eyelets is where we had the mohair dare. So I did add a white mohair in these eyelet rows and a multicolored one in these rows, which just adds like a nice bit of texture. I don't know, what do you think? It's crazy. I kind of want to wear it, honestly. It's really warm. Okay, it's fine. So yeah, there she is. I'm really glad I participated. I don't know if I'll do it again. I hold myself to like a real, like if I like say I'm gonna do something like this, I like have to do it. And it did kind of bother me that like for no reason that I wasn't able to finish it in time. So I don't know if I like putting that kind of like pressure on myself. It was fun, like I looked forward, I was like really excited to get the new clue every week. But then once it got to the last clue, I feel like I kind of lost that momentum because there wasn't like another one to look forward to. So I don't know. Probably in a year from now, I'll like get excited about it again. I do feel like I learned new techniques and it was just kind of out of my comfort zone. I think if I do it again, I would probably try to pick some colors that I wear like every day that I could like incorporate it into my wardrobe a little bit, even though I think part of what made it so fun to work on was the really fun colors. But yeah, huge project, learned a lot, mostly enjoyed the experience aside from everything that happened with Clue 1. Would consider doing it again. Did you participate in the MKAL? Let me know below. And let me know if you think the fringe is too long. I can't decide. Okay, throwing that over there. Okay, next one's a sweater. So last time I had cast on my Ranunculus, and since then I had another knit night with my friend Jess and we were working on them together, and I have since finished it. So here she is. I really like it. I was afraid it was going to be too cropped, but when I blocked it, I got another couple of inches into the body length and it's like perfect now. Also, this is so light. It just weighs nothing. Like it's really, really nice. So this is one strand of Nutiden that I got in a D-stash. It's this really pretty heathery mauve pink kind of color. And then I held that together with mohair, which I now cannot find. Okay, maybe I don't have it out here. Yeah, so I made, the hardest part of this pattern for me was casting on for the neckline. And I think that's because I was using the Nutiden. So the pattern is by Midori Hirose. It's available up to a 70.75 inch bust. I made size 3, which was a 50.75 inch finished bust. There are two neckline options, a narrower neckline and a wider neckline. I was trying to cast on for the narrower neckline and I was having a really hard time because I was having to use really big, like chunky needle size DPNs with the super lightweight Nutiden. I was just struggling. So I restarted a couple of times and I ultimately just decided to cast on the wider neckline option, and I'm really glad that I did because it's about as close fitting as I would want it to be. And I think because the yarn is not super heavy, it didn't stretch out like a lot of the wider neckline options versions do in the photos. Yeah, I totally get why people knit this over and over again. It's very quick. The yoke has just enough interest to keep you going, and then the body it's just knit on large needles at a pretty open gauge, so it goes really quickly. Also, you can basically use any yarn, which is nice. So since this was my first time knitting this, I did decide to just knit it exactly to pattern, including the front neck short rows. So it has short rows to lift the back neck, but also the front neck, which is to create this little dip here because the lace is meant to look like a necklace. It seems like a lot of people omit the front short rows because it does lift the front neck as well, which is not really ideal. I do like that it creates that shape, but next time I would omit the front short rows. I was able to block more of a scoop into it, so I think when I'm wearing it, it's not gonna really ride up on my neck, but I could see it being uncomfortable if it doesn't maintain the shape that I blocked it into. So next time I would omit the front short rows. The sleeves, I knit 2 patterns. So when I finished knitting them, it was truly like a 3/4 length that was kind of hitting me here. like right about here. And I did knit the like angled short rows. So there's an option to add a like angled extension on the sleeve, which kind of creates this little like curved like puff here. And maybe you can see my short rows a little bit there. And I did decide to add that in, like I said, since I just wanted to knit it to pattern, to like experience the pattern. And I really like the shape that it gives, actually. I think with that sleeve length, a lot of times it does tend to tilt up, and this kind of corrects for that. So the sleeve opening is level instead of being tilted. And then it's finished with an I-cord edge, which is chunky. It's like a 5-stitch I-cord. I think next time I might just do a 3. I think with the Newtonen it works because it's a chunkier yarn. If I was using a lighter yarn, I might just do like a 3-cord, 3-stitch I-cord bind off. Also, I did not do a very good job of grafting my I-cord ends together, so that looks kind of sloppy. No one will ever notice that except for me, and now all of you, because I'm telling you. But you can definitely see where I didn't do a very good job on that. But that's okay. I'll still wear it. Anything else? I had 2 plates of Newtonen, which was more than enough to make this, holding a single strand with mohair. Honestly, I think if I had held it the Newtonen double, this would be too hot to wear. It's very warm. This is going to be like my extreme cold weather sweater. But I do really, really like it. It's softened up a lot after blocking. Yeah, and like I said, after I finished it, I was not sure if I would have enough yarn, and I had plenty of yarn. Also, after I blocked it, the sleeves did block out quite a bit and are more of like a true bracelet length now. Like I would say after blocking, they come to about here, whereas before they were like down here. I think the Newtonen also just grows a lot because it's very like open and airy. But yeah, I really like it. I think I'll definitely knit another Ranunculus. I really would love to do like a mohair version. I have some white mohair that would be, or like cream, that would be really pretty. That would be like the exact opposite of this, you know, just like super light and airy. I also think a summer version would be great. So I see a couple more of these in my future. Definitely get the hype. And the length did turn out to be perfect after blocking. It's about 18 inches total, like from the top of the neck to the bottom of the hem. I have a very short torso, and I'm learning 18 inches total length is about this perfect spot for me if I want it to be cropped. Like I will wear it with like a high-waisted skirt or pants or over a dress. So this one turned out just right, and I'm very happy with it. I did have actually quite a bit of yarn left over when I was done, and I wanted to use it all up because it feels special, and you know, I really liked working with it. I don't think I'm like eager to work with it again, especially Newtonen specifically, because I don't plan to like join their Patreon, or you know, it ships from Europe, so that's kind of expensive here. But I'd be open to using unspun yarn again for sure. Or, you know, if I found more Newtonen in a D-stash or something. But so I was looking for an accessory pattern that I could use the rest for. And I found the Broom Hat by Melody Hoffman, and I have finished it. So this, like I said, is a pattern by Melody Hoffman. It's available in 5 sizes from toddler to adult large. I knit the adult small, and I did have to make some modifications because I knew I wasn't going to have quite enough yarn to knit it to pattern. So the pattern calls for you to hold 2 strands of Newtonen together plus mohair. So this is a chunky knit. And I knew I was not going to have quite enough. So the pattern calls for the brim to be knitted to about 12 centimeters, I think. I knit mine to about 7, and I had this much yarn left. So it worked out just perfectly. I was like anxiously playing yarn chicken the whole time. I was like, I'm not gonna have enough. I'm not gonna have enough. But I did. I had just enough. So would I have liked the brim to be a little bit longer? Yes, but also I would rather have the finished hat than not have, you know, not have been able to use the rest of the yarn. So these are the same yarn, same mohair. It's just here the Newtonen is held double. It's really cute. It's very warm. I did also omit the tubular cast on. I just personally don't find them necessary for fit on hats, and I don't mind the appearance of a regular cast on. I actually find sometimes the tubular cast on is too stretchy in a hat and they get stretched out of shape really quickly. So I just did a regular cast on. Otherwise it's to pattern. And like I said, I only have this much left. So I got a sweater and a hat out of 2 plates of Newton. So I feel pretty happy about that. I have quite a bit of the mohair left still. And I've just been saving all of my mohair scraps for some kind of like crazy mohair project in the future. But yeah, this was also very fast. I knit this yesterday. I started it yesterday morning and I cast off yesterday evening. So real quick knit. If you have Newton scraps or leftovers, would definitely recommend whipping one of these up. Okay, one more FO, and it's also a big one. I finished my Tessellated pullover. Woo! So let me show it to you. I finished it 2 days ago. After I finished the Geogradient shawl, I was like, I need to finish that. This was like the other big project. I actually have had this on my needles for 4 months, which was not the plan. Originally, I had hoped to finish this by Rhinebeck weekend, even though I wasn't going to Rhinebeck. So I guess that was like 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago. I'm not sure. So it was, I mean, it's not too far off my goal, but I did finish it. So here she is. I am very happy with it. I can show you the yarns. Sorry, I just have a basket full of yarn over here. Okay, so my main color was this navy Barocco Lannis Light. I had so much of this left over. So I bought 4 balls of this, and I think I bought 1,400 yards, which the recommended yardage for my size was maybe like 1,100 or something. So I had to buy that 4th ball. Honestly, in hindsight, knowing that I was going to crop this, I should have just not bought the 4th ball because I have 2 entire balls left over. So I used less than 700 yards for the main color. I should say this is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. It's available up to a 69-inch bust. I made size 5, which is a 50-inch bust. So yeah, I feel like the pattern like really overestimates the main color yardage. I used less than half of the main color yarn that I bought to finish the sweater. My mohair, or fluff, sorry, it's actually Surrey, was this, which is Fiber Space Cumulus. It's Surrey. I don't remember the color name. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I had navy, and then I had the lighter blue. And then my color changing yarn was this, which is Primrose Yarn Co. Homestead Sport, and the color is Hipster. Now focus. I really like this yarn. I feel like this is my new like go-to color changing yarn because I can get it from a local yarn store, unlike Spin Cycle, which I have to order. So yeah, these were my 3 colors. And yeah, here she is. I really love the shape of the neckline on this. It fits so well on. It doesn't like, it just lays perfectly, and it doesn't like come anywhere near my neck. It's not uncomfortable. I also was a little bit worried that the Barocco Lannis would be scratchy on, but it really softened up during blocking, and it's very comfortable to wear. The whole thing has a really soft, squishy texture that I love. Like, it has a nice weight to it because of the mosaic knitting, but it also has a really nice drape. Like, I just love it. So modifications. So the pattern calls for 3 inches of body ribbing. I did 2.5 because I knew I was going to crop mine, and I felt like 3 inches was going to be like half of the body. So I did shorten that a bit. If you've heard me talk about this on previous episodes, you'll know I was worried that it was going to be way too cropped. It did miraculously block to 17 inches total length. So it is definitely not too cropped. It is like borderline, maybe. It's fine. It's long enough that I'm not going to do sweater surgery on it, because that's what I was contemplating, having to cut this off, knit an extra inch or two, and then graft back together like 400 stitches. I'm not going to do that. It is long enough that I can wear it over a dress or with a skirt, and it's not like gonna show my midriff. The sleeves blocked out so nicely. They're like just over my wrist, which I love. I really love the effect of the color changing yarn. There's pinks and orange and yellow. There on the sleeve you can see. It's kind of like sunset-y colors with the navy and the light. I just really like it a lot. What I do think is that when I'm going to have my sweaters this cropped, I need to make them tighter fitting, because it is like just the right length, like it's just long enough, but it's pretty wide, and that makes it kind of billowy, and which is like fine over a dress, but I think with a skirt I might feel a little bit exposed. Like I might prefer it to be a little more tight fitting, so I know that I'm covered versus it being kind of open, if that makes sense. So it's fine. I'm not going to make any changes to it, but I think just as a learning for future, if I'm going to knit something, if I'm knitting stuff this cropped, I might not need to knit the like 50-inch bust size, maybe like closer to like 0 to 2 inches of positive ease is more of what I want versus like 5 to 6 inches. Just something to keep in mind. One other really nice feature of this pattern is the shoulder seam has this really pretty exterior 3-needle bind off, which is just like a nice detail. It is also a modified drop shoulder design, so the body doesn't go straight into the sleeve. You can see this little right angle here. So you cast off stitches, and then this is like a little tiny seam right here before you pick up for the sleeve. So there's not quite as much fullness at the underarm, which is really nice. And I think helps to make the drop shoulder sleeve a little bit more modern fitting. Here's the sleeve decreases if anyone is interested in seeing that. They're not like perfect, but considering how busy the pattern is, I think they look fine. Yeah, this was a big project. I'm really glad I finished it. I really love it. It feels like it was a real labor of love. Like I said, I've been working on it for about 4 months, and I'm really excited to wear it. I'm probably gonna wear it to work this week. I feel like this could easily become my like throw it on over anything, like especially around the house kind of sweater, but it does also feel kind of fancy. So I don't know, I'm really glad I finished it. This is my first garment pattern by Andrea Mowry that I finished. I actually started a pink fizz like a year or so ago and never finished it, but I really love the mosaic knitting technique, and yeah, there she is. Very happy with it. So that's all my FOs. There were some big ones. I've been in a project finishing mood lately. I think nearing the end of the year, I start to get a little bit like, I want to get old stuff off my needles that's been lingering for a while. So yeah, it feels really good to have those couple of projects off the needles and a couple of new sweaters to wear this season. So next I will move on to works in progress. Okay, I have 5 whips to share with you today. They're all knitting. 2 of them are new cast-ons since we last talked. So I'm gonna start with socks. I am knitting a pair of hot pink socks for myself. They were inspired by an outfit I want to wear for we're having like a holiday spirit week at work, and one of the themes is pajama day. And I got these cute holiday pajamas that are plaid, and the plaid has hot pink. So long story short, I wanted to make some hot pink socks to go with my look, and I finished the first one. This is really crazy neon pink. I don't know if it comes across that way on camera, but it like almost hurts to look at and I love it. So this yarn is Spun Right Round Classic Sock Base. It's 100% superwash merino. There's no nylon, so I plan to wear these with slippers only and just around the house. I did pick this up at a local D-stash, and the skein does say it's a second skein and that the dye would bleed. So I will have to be careful that I don't use this yarn in any other projects with colors where it could easily bleed onto them, or I will have to be careful to like wash these separately. But I mean, look at that. They're kind of like an ankle length. So this is just my vanilla sock pattern, 64 stitches. I did like 2 inches of a 2x2 cuff, like 1.5 inches, maybe a little more of leg, a heel flapping gusset, foot, and then just a regular toe, toe decreases. I really like these. I really like this length of sock, kind of like, I don't know, I would say it's, I'll just measure it. How long is this leg? Maybe like 3.5 inches. Let's see. Yeah, it's 3.5 inches. So it's just enough to cover your ankle, which I really like, especially for socks I'm just wearing around the house. I do find with the longer socks, they tend to slip down a little bit more, which is kind of annoying. So I do like this length of sock. I definitely knit a lot that are like 5 or 6 inches in the leg, but I do really like these like slightly shorter ankle length ones. So yeah, that's just a simple vanilla sock. I'll start working on the second one. I do need to have these finished by the first week of December. So I anticipate I'm gonna have over a week off for Thanksgiving. So I do anticipate doing a lot of knitting in that time. So I hope to get the second one done next week. Okay, one more pair of socks. This is in my WestKnits project bag, very cute. This lives in my car. It's kind of my on-the-go project. And this is just a DK pair of vanilla socks. I also finished the first one of these. These are really wild. Let me see, what is this yarn? So I picked up this yarn at Moon and Yarn Craft Room in Pittsburgh. It's a really cute shop if you ever get a chance to stop in. The owner had a bin of like her personal D-stash, which was cool. So I think I got this yarn for like 10 bucks. It is Space Cadet yarns. The base is Oriana, which is 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon. And the color is Baroque, which was a spring 2021 limited edition color. Here is what it looks like in the cake. So it's this real cute, like pink lemonade kind of color. I do feel like when it knits up, you see a lot more of these like little hits of cool purple, which is interesting. And I didn't really see them in the skein. But yeah, when you knit it up, you definitely get more of that cool. So I feel like this knit up so weird. Like I'm here for it. I like a funky sock, but in the cuff and the leg, it's kind of doing like a pooled stripe. But then in the foot, it's more of a like a true like variegated kind of more evenly distributed, which I do like that better. I kind of wish the whole thing was like that. And I don't know if that's the way the skein is dyed, or I kind of feel like it has to be, right? Because like this is the same width as this. So you would think if the skein was like very evenly dyed, they would be the same. I don't know. It's kind of odd, right? Maybe it's not. Tell me if that's like normal, but it's a little funky. Maybe it's ugly. I don't know. I like it, but like it's weird. It's probably one of the weirder socks I've made. These are just for me to wear around the house, so it doesn't matter. I like the colors. I kind of like that they're weird, but they're weird. This is loosely based on the numbers of WestKnits Thickness socks, which is a sock set, a DK weight sock set. And I'm just holding the like inner and outer pole strands of the yarn together to make a DK weight. So these knit up super fast. I think I'll probably finish the other one of these next week too. I am trying to finish 12 pairs of socks for myself by the end of the year. And I think I have like 9. I think these 2 pairs, when I finish them, will get me up to like 10 or 11. So I'm really hoping to meet that goal. I'm planning to do Vlogmas, which I guess I'll just talk about it now. So my tentative plan is to do 1 video a week instead of doing a video every day. I honestly don't know how people do that. Like filming is one thing, but like editing, and kudos to everyone who does a daily Vlogmas. It's so much work. So I think I'm gonna do every week. So I will try to film every day, but instead of releasing a video every day, I'm just gonna do like 1 compilation video for each week. Yeah, so like I'll try and publish around like the 7th or 8th, and then the 14th or 15th, etc. And I would like to be able to kind of like gift myself 3 pairs of socks each week to wear as part of my like Advent kind of stuff. So yeah, that's kind of my, because I've just been setting them all aside in like a box, and I haven't worn any of the ones I've knitted this year yet. I've only been wearing the ones from last year. So I thought that would be fun to kind of like gift them to myself throughout the month of December. So yeah, that's my tentative plan for Vlogmas. Please let me know if there's anything specific you'd like to see during Vlogmas. I'll talk a little bit more about Advents in the acquisition section, but yeah, if there's anything specific you'd like to see, please let me know. Definitely open to suggestions. So I'll keep working on these guys. Okay, the next one is a new cast on. So one of the reasons I've been so busy is that one of my weekends, a Thursday through a Sunday, I was out of town at a bachelorette party in Florida, which was a really good time. It was great to see everyone. The house we were staying at was very cute. It had a pool. The weather was nice. It was good to see everybody. I'm very excited for that wedding. It's going to be like one of the fanciest weddings I've ever been to, I think. It's in Williamsburg in New York. And it's black tie. So I will be getting to make a very fancy outfit for that. And I will be sharing more about that later in the season, like in the next couple of months. The season of this year, not like this season of the podcast. Yeah, anyway. So I knew I was going to have a lot of travel time, and I knew I was going to a warm climate. So I decided to cast on a new project for the trip, and it just worked out perfectly. This is a gift for my sister for Christmas. Laura, if you're watching and you don't want to see it, turn it off, although you already saw a picture, so I don't know. It's not really a spoiler at this point. My sister is not the biggest fan of wearing wool, so we looked at patterns together and found one that she liked for me to make her for Christmas, and she picked the Scribble Cardigan by Rose Knitwear. I'll put a picture in here. It is a really interesting design. It has this really complicated looking like lace cluster design. It's all over lace, super cropped cardigan, long sleeves. It's really cool. And I had not yet cast that on. So I decided this is linen, perfect for warm weather. I will cast this on the trip. So I did. The yarn I am using is BC Garn Lino in this really electric blue. It's so pretty. I love the color. This is one of the alternate suggested yarns in the pattern. Let's see. It is 100% linen. Don't see. Oh, it's 50 grams, 150 meters. It is very thin. It's almost feels like a lace weight to work with. Yeah, it's like maybe light fingering to lace weight. Parts of it are really, really thin. So this is a pay-for pattern. It's not available on Ravelry. You do have to get it from the designer's website. So I'm not gonna share too much about how it works. What I will say is once you figure out the lace repeat, that's the entire pattern. So you're basically just knitting 3 rectangles of the same lace over and over and over again. So like it was a great travel project because once I cast on and got the first few rows under my belt, I did not have to look at the pattern. It's just kind of the same thing over and over again, which was really great for like being on a plane and like in airports. The one really interesting thing about this pattern that I will share with you is the needles. So I'm like in an odd, difficult place to show, but right side rows are knit with one size of needle and wrong side rows are knit with a twice as big needle. So in one direction you're knitting with these chunky needles, and on the way back you're knitting with a smaller needle. And what that does is create this really open mesh, which is super interesting. I've never really seen anything like it or made anything like it. It's very cool. I think the most challenging part about this is how thin the yarn is compared to how thick the needles are, which is necessary to create the like scribbly like line drawing texture, which is what this pattern is all about. But it is very easy to accidentally get 2 strands of yarn together and then your lace pattern is messed up. So that has happened twice for me. So let me show you what that causes. This is kind of hard to show. So hopefully you can see like right here and down here where it kind of jogs. That is because my lace pattern got off somehow. So that is unfortunate. I didn't even realize it until after I got home and had already knitted all of this. So I actually showed I sent a picture of that to my sister and I was like, hey, here's the deal. This happened. Basically, do you want me to start over? Because I will, but if I have to start over, it's not going to be a Christmas gift. It's going to be like a birthday gift for next year. Just because there's probably like 10 hours of knitting in this already, if not more. So she said she was fine with it. I'm also hoping that I'll be able to block it out a bit, like by manipulating it. I don't know, y'all. I hope I can. I'm just like in a tangled up web right now. I'm hoping I can block it a little bit. If not, we're just gonna say it was a design choice, because I do think the like weird zigzagginess is not totally at odds with how strange this pattern is to begin with. So I don't know. At this point, I'm planning to just carry on and hope that I can straighten it out in blocking a bit. And if not, and I gift it to her and she's not gonna wear it, I will redo it. It just might take me another year. So yeah, I finished the body, like the torso, and now I've started on the front panel. And you can see as I went on, I definitely got the hang of the lace more. It's really just this one row where I super messed up. Like it's not even as obvious on this panel. It's pretty obvious. I don't know. But anyways, the texture is very cool. It's fun to knit. It's fairly quick. I do need to finish it by Christmas, so this will probably be getting a lot of work next week as well. It's just really interesting. Like I've never knit anything like this before. I will say the pattern's not terribly size inclusive, so I don't know if I would knit anything else from this designer like for myself, but it is a very cool and interesting pattern. And I'm really hoping that my sister is gonna like it a lot. So yeah, I'll carry on with that. Okay, 2 more. Where to put this? All right, the next one I'm just gonna quickly show. It's another one I've been working on for a while at this point, but I did recently pick it back up and put in some rows on it. So this is my Lanark sweater. The design is by Rebecca Clow, who has the Cray Bea podcast. It's available up to a 71-inch bust. I'm making this for Troy, my partner. So I'm making him size 3, which is a 44-inch chest, and his chest measurement is 40 inches, so it'll have about 4 inches of positive ease. I'm using a Rowan felted tweed, which I got in a D-stash. The color, I think, is like wet stone or something like that. It's kind of an odd color. It's kind of like a gray taupe. It's not really gray. It's more of like a taupe, but then it has little flecks of blue and white. That's pretty true to the color there. It almost has like a green undertone. So it's a quarter zip design, so the zipper will be added in at the end, and it is knit in half fisherman's rib. So it is this really nice squishy texture, especially on the double folded neckband. The beginning of this pattern is really interesting to knit. Like all the shaping here and the neckband and on the back was really fun, and like I didn't want to put it down. However, now that I've just reached the endless in the round body portion, I have slowed down on it a bit. I put a couple inches in on it this week. But as you know, if you've been watching my episodes, I tend to knit things very cropped for myself. So I'm not used to having to knit more than like 6 or 7 inches of body. But for Troy, I will be knitting the entire 17 inches of recommended body length. So that's more than double what I normally have to knit on a body. So I'm gonna have to like power through that, especially because the half brioche is fun to knit, but it's not like there's color work or something to like really keep your interest. However, I am enjoying this as my like one color pick it up if I need a mindless couple of hours of knitting kind of project. So yeah, it's coming along. I'll definitely keep plugging away on it. I don't know. I mean, I'll probably show it again if I make a little bit of progress, but this could be a long-term one. If I really get going on it, maybe I could finish it by Christmas, but I'm not gonna like kill myself to do that. So Troy's birthday's in March. I might try and get it done by then. We'll see. I keep threatening to like make him learn how to knit so he can knit the body. But I really do. He's very knit worthy, and I owe him a sweater sometime soon. So here it is. The texture's so nice. I do really enjoy it. So that, oh, I have the yarn right here. Here it is. Rowan felted tweed. The color is stone. So yeah. Okay, one more, and I just cast it on last night. So I'm noticing I really have a color theme going on here. There's a lot of purple and blue. I've been trying to kind of think about that more lately. Like, what are my colors that I really wear? What colors do I really enjoy knitting with? And how can I make them a little more cohesive? And it definitely seems like the cool colors, the purples, the blues, grays, mauves, that's kind of where it's at for me. Anyway, so yesterday I was watching a bunch of, wow, words just like fruity knitting. I was watching a bunch of older episodes of the Fruity Knitting podcast. And every time I watch it, I just get a really overpowering urge to do like traditional Fair Isle color work. Because that's so much of what they talk about on the show, and also that's a lot of what they knit on the show. And I was like, I just have to have, like, I need to cast on like a color work project. I get in these moods where like all I want to do is color work, and I've never knit anything that was steeked. I've never knit some like really traditional Fair Isle kind of stuff. So last night I was like, you know, I've cast off quite a few big projects lately. I'm probably gonna cast on like 5 more sweaters before the end of the year, to be honest with you, because I have a lot of yarn I'm really excited about right now. And this was not even one that I planned to cast on. But when I finished my Tessellated and I saw how much of the navy yarn I had left, I didn't just want to stick it back in my stash. I was like, I want to use this. What am I gonna do with it? So I looked at my stash, and so I have 2 more balls of this, the Navy Barocco Lannis Light, which is 100% wool. It's really technically a sport weight, but I feel like it knits up closer to a fingering weight. It's It just says it's a special blend of South American wools. It's 383 yards to 100 grams. So it's pretty close to being a true fingering weight. So I have, yeah, almost 800 yards of this left. And I also have a bunch of Knit Picks palette in my stash that I got in a D-stash that is also fingering weight. So I thought this will be the main color. I should say what I decided to make with it is a Merit cardigan. Here is a picture of it. It's a really pretty cardigan, fairly traditional design. I am changing up the color scheme a little bit. The pattern calls for a main color and then 2 contrast colors. I'm using 3 contrast colors. I'm gonna do the layout a little bit differently. This pattern is by Kristen Drysdale. It is unfortunately only available up to a 54-inch bust. I'm making size 5, which is the 50-inch bust. I have a 44-inch bust, so that's about 6 inches of positive ease, which I think for a cardigan is a really good amount. Please, if you know any designers who make this more kind of like traditional Fair Isle look and are size inclusive up to like 60 inches or more, including ease, please let me know, because I feel like this is kind of a problem area for size inclusive designs. Like a lot of the most beautiful like Fair Isle designs are only available up to like a 50 or 52-inch bust. Like specifically, I'm thinking like all of the Marie Wallen designs, some of them only go up to like a 40-some inch bust. And that's not really okay. Like, I don't know, I want to like knit these kind of things, but I'm not finding them easily in size inclusive designers. So please, if you know of any or have some that you like, please let me know in the comments, because I would love to like lift those designers up, because it does feel like this is kind of a hole in the pattern marketplace for size inclusive designs. And I would love to see more of that. So anyways, I'm knitting this. The navy is my main color. Then I am using 3 different shades of Knit Picks palette, all in like blue and purple. So this is going to be a little more tonal and a little more vibrant. I haven't really seen any projects that are knit in this kind of color scheme. A lot of them have a lot more contrast, but as much as I like the look of traditional Fair Isle, I sometimes struggle to think of how I would wear it and incorporate it into my wardrobe and make it look a little bit more modern. So I'm hoping that this more like analogous tonal kind of palette will help it to feel a little bit fresh. Also, I'm using a dark color as my main color. Most of the projects on Ravelry are using a light color, so I think that's a little bit different. But yeah, I think this will be really pretty. At least I'm hoping it will. So my intention is there's 3 different motifs in the pattern. I'm just going to do each one in one of these colors instead of just using the 2 colors. So I did completely impulsively cast this on last night. Also, I could tell you what the colors are. This one is my favorite. It's like a really bright periwinkle. Where is the ball band? So Knit Picks palette, that color is Chicory. I should also say this is 100% Peruvian Highland wool, 231 yards to 50 grams. So it is it's more of a fine yarn than the Baroque Alanis, but not by much. They feel similar. This other blue I'm using is Celestial, which is like a real true pretty cobalt. And then the more purple is Majestic. And at first I was worried that there would not be enough contrast between these, but I did take a black and white photo, and the purple is a lighter value than the navy. So I do think you will get credit for it. And honestly, on camera, they look pretty different. So I don't have that much to show you. I did finish the ribbing and the first row of color work. So it's not that exciting yet. However, this ribbing was a chunk. It's a lot of stitches. This is the smallest needle size I've ever used in a garment. It actually calls for a size 0 for the ribbing. I did not have that. So I use a 2.5 millimeter. It calls for a 2 millimeter needle. And I was like, that is so small. Like, so I'm hoping it'll be fine. I don't know why it wouldn't be, to be honest with you, but yeah, so I finished the room. It was kind of annoying because last night I was like, I want to do color work. And of course, like you cast on and you're like, oh, I have to do thousands of stitches of ribbing first, but I got through it. So you can just see the first row of color work there. It is that brighter blue, which I love these two colors together. Yeah, so you knit the ribbing separately back and forth, and then you cast on for the steek and then knit in the round. And then at the end, the button bands will be knitted on vertically, which is kind of interesting. I'm eager to see how that works out. This is my first time doing a steek, which I'm really excited about. It's something I've been wanting to try for a while. I think this yarn is sticky enough that it'll be fairly easy. I don't anticipate having any problems with the steek. I'll probably do a sewn machine reinforcement, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. This is like all I want to work on right now, even though I have other things to do. So that's how it goes, isn't it? But there's the beginnings of my Merit cardigan. I am excited about it, aside from the lack of size inclusivity about the pattern, but I feel like I am very picky about Fair Isle designs, and I'm not overly eager to design my own, so that kind of puts you in like a bit of a catch-22 kind of. Also, because this is my first time trying a steek and like this construction, I didn't really want to go through the process of trying to pick like a size inclusive cardigan and combine that with the Farrah. It just felt like too much, given that there were a lot of firsts for me in this garment anyway. So yeah, if you, like I said, if you know any size inclusive Fair Isle designers, I would love to hear about them and share about them, and maybe I'll even do some more research and try and put together like a special episode just about that, because I do feel like they're hard to find, especially ones that look modern. So yeah, that is it for whips. I'm very excited about all of them. I anticipate the socks and maybe the scribble cardigan being done in the next couple of weeks, as we're coming up to the holidays. So last thing, acquisitions. I just have one to share with you, and I can only kind of share it because it is an advent. So I did order I actually have 3 advents this year. So I ordered a half advent from Camellia Fiber Company, which I'm really excited about. It's like a secret garden theme. I'm going to be getting 12 20-gram minis, and I'm not sure. I feel like I need to see all of them before I can decide what to do with them. So I'll probably just open those each day. We did also get an email saying that unfortunately the advent is going to be delivered late because of packaging supply shortages, I think. So I don't expect that one to be here by December 1st. So hopefully it gets here before Christmas. But since I wasn't planning to knit it every day anyway, I'm like, that's fine. I also did a Scrappy Advent exchange. So Rebecca Clow at the Crayabea podcast organized a Scrappy Advent swap this year, which I signed up for, and I have received my Advent from my partner and sent mine to her. So that one I will also be opening every day, but I don't plan to use them every day. I feel like, especially with a Scrappy Advent, like I really want to be able to see everything before I would start like a garment or a shawl. I just can't really justify putting a ton of effort into knitting something if it might look like totally crazy and I would never wear it. Like, but I do have one that I'm planning to knit every day, and that is the Woolens and Nosh Sock Advent. So it came in this really cute little tote bag. It has a snap in the middle, and it has 2 50-gram cakes inside with the little starter yarns hanging out. I haven't peeked yet, and I'm not going to. So this has the yarn balls. Then it also came with a matching mini skein, which is like a pretty soft gray. It also came with some candy and a bar of Tuft soap and a code for an exclusive pattern that was designed for the Advent that is free to you if you want it, if you purchase the Advent. So I did download the pattern. I think I'll probably knit it. At first I didn't realize it was going to have that, so I was like, oh, I'll just knit vanilla socks, but it's cool that there's a pattern designed just for this, so I probably will use that pattern. It's called the Peace and Joy socks, and it's like a mystery knit along, which is fun too with the socks. So yeah, basically how it works is there's every day's color is separated by one stripe worth of the mini skein color. So there'll be like a chunk and then one stripe of gray and then a chunk and then one stripe of gray. So my plan is to knit a stripe a day, plus the cuff, toe, etc. And I'm gonna try and knit them simultaneously on 2 different sets of DPNs because that's how I like to knit my socks. But yeah, so this is the one Advent thing. I'll be opening my other Advents every day, but this is the one that I'll be trying to knit up every day. I'm also considering, speaking of Advents, I'm considering doing Quiltmas again this year. I did it a couple of years ago, and if you're not familiar, that is a yearly holiday quilt-along that is organized by a few different people on Instagram. I think Broadcloth Studio is the main organizer, and they basically get 12 different designers, and for the first 12 days of December, they release a quilt. It's like a sampler, but each designer releases like one block, and then at the end you can assemble them into like a really fun eclectic holiday quilt. When I did it a couple of years ago, I really loved it. The blocks were so cute that year. Each one was inspired by a holiday movie, and they just all came together really nice. It's also a great way to try new quilting techniques. Like that was the first time I had ever tried foundation paper piecing or English paper piecing. Really liked both. So I think I might do it again this year as another like Advent day-to-day kind of thing. And I decorated for the holidays already because I'm just like in the spirit this year. I was ready and I was like, oh, I really don't have that many holiday decorations. And we do have like a really cute like quilt ladder in the living room, and I thought it would be really nice to have like a holiday quilt to show on it during the holidays. So I think I'm going to do that this year. I'm just kind of moving into chat now. This weekend, actually tomorrow, Sunday, my mom and I are going to pop over to So to Speak, which is one of my local fabric stores. They're having a little holiday market with some vendors, and we're going to go check that out. And I might pick up some fabric for the Quiltmas project while I'm there. So I'm excited about that. I can't decide if I want like a green and white scheme or like, I might go like reds, like a bright red and a burgundy and maybe some gold and like a white and maybe even like a little navy or something. I haven't decided yet. I need to look at the requirements and see like how many fabrics you need. So yeah, I think I might do that. What else is going on? So I already talked about the bachelorette party and decorating. I've still been hosting the craft nights locally. So the next one is this coming Tuesday, November 21st. So if you're local, I hope you'll join us. It's at Gamut Beer Garden in Old Town East in Columbus. We're doing a special craft this time. So it is still open craft night. Like if you just want to bring your knitting or your embroidery or whatever and hang out with us, you certainly can. But we are also going to be making cornucopias if you're interested. There is a fee to make the cornucopia. All the supplies are going to be provided. It's $22. And we'll have all the glue guns and everything that we will need there. So my plan is to make the cornucopia and then knit afterwards. Usually it's like 6 to 9. So yeah, if you're interested in that, you can either stop by or call the bar to sign up for the cornucopia. If you're just coming for open craft night, you can just come hang out. You don't have to do anything. I think that's all I have. That was a lot. I'm really, really happy to have some of these big projects off the needles. The Tessellated specifically felt like it was starting to like drag me down a little bit. And I think especially because I was worried I was gonna have to do all that sweater surgery on it, and I'm really relieved that I was able to block length into it and don't have to do that, because I honestly don't know if I ever would have gotten that done. It felt very daunting. Yeah, that's it. I'm really looking forward to having a week off for the holidays. My birthday is coming up. Also, it's right around Thanksgiving. So yeah, I'm gonna get a lot of knitting and sewing done. Very excited. I am wishing if you celebrate Thanksgiving, a happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. I hope you get some downtime, some crafting time, and I hope it's just a relaxing, enjoyable time. And my next video will probably be my first Vlogmas video. So yeah, please do let me know below if there's anything specific you'd like to see for Vlogmas. And I will see you then. And I'm really excited. The holidays are here, they're near. Let's get holly jolly. Sorry for the weird coffee energy I brought to this episode. Anyway, I better get off before the coffee gets to me too much. So, okay, rambling over. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.